You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. 2026 has just quietly knocked on your door, like a gentle reminder that your journey is still ahead, and right now, today, you can choose a new way to live. In the relentless rush of life, there have surely been times when you've put the needs of others before your own, tried to play every role perfectly in your family, your job, your relationships, sometimes even sacrificing yourself for things that aren't truly important. The truth is, if you keep giving without ever stopping to recover, to listen to yourself, at some point you'll fall into an emptiness where there's no more inspiration, no more peace. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is the foundation for living fully, and the best gift you can give those you love. This is also the core spirit of Stoic philosophy, proactively mastering your thoughts, actions, and emotions every single day. This video will give you practical solutions to live stronger, freer, and more fulfilled on this journey into the new year. Stay with me to the end, because sometimes the light you need only appears when you're patient enough to search for it and listen. 1. Prioritize your health. Have you ever asked yourself what health truly means to you? Not the empty talks about healthy living, but that unmistakable, honest feeling, waking up one morning, feeling light in your body, clear in your mind, and strong enough to take on anything the day brings. Be honest with me. Has it been a long time since you felt that way? Don't rush past these words. Maybe right now you're stuck in that familiar loop. Non-stop work, hurried meals, scrolling your phone until your eyes burn every night, broken sleep, waking up exhausted for reasons you can't explain. This isn't just about temporary tiredness. It's a warning of a more dangerous cycle. When you neglect your body, it will eventually betray you. Sounds dramatic? I used to think so too, until one day, after months of nothing but work, drinking coffee instead of water, staying up until 2 or 3 a.m. to finish endless documents, I got seriously ill. Not the kind of minor cold you brush off, but that suffocating breathlessness, racing heartbeat, and a loss of control over my own rhythm. In that moment, every ambition for success, every plan, even responsibilities to loved ones, all became luxuries. I realized something everyone seems to know, but rarely heeds, from the words of philosopher Marcus Aurelius. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. The truth is, you only have one body, one mind, one life. No one is going to let you borrow a new body when this one breaks down. You can't reset like a computer, and no one can suffer for you. The only thing you truly own is your health. Think of it as the key to every door, from work to relationships, from passions to peace. Without health, everything else is just a half-hearted game, ready to collapse when the wind shifts. Listen to me. Health doesn't demand that you become an athlete or a nutrition expert. Small, consistent changes are what really save you. Start by choosing natural foods meals with greens, fruits, whole grains, and limit processed food, soft drinks, and alcohol. Your body is not a dumpster for whatever's convenient. Every meal is a choice, and that choice reflects your responsibility to yourself. You'll soon see, exercise isn't a burden either. Just 20 minutes of walking each day, a few stretches when you have time, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator. You don't need to join a gym. You don't need expensive equipment. What you need is a habit. Sometimes I ask myself, if I have time to scroll the news or mindless social media, why can't I spare 15 minutes to move my body? It's just because we haven't valued ourselves enough. Your body is like a Ferrari. If you only use cheap fuel and never maintain it, sooner or later it'll leave you stranded. And don't forget, sleep is the foundation of all recovery. One late night is enough to trigger a domino effect. Poor focus, irritability, emotional turmoil. You think you're trading a few hours to get more work done, but in reality, you lose much more in the days after. I know you'll say, I've tried before, but I gave up. We've all been there. The important thing is, don't blame yourself and don't look for excuses to quit. Every time you return to yourself, you win. No one expects you to be perfect, just persistent, a little more each day. Remember, health is not a trophy to show off, but the foundation for living right, living deeply, and living resiliently. I've traded my health in the past for things I thought were important, only to pay a heavy price. Not in money, but in losing my freedom, self-control, and daily peace. Don't wait until your body speaks up to start fixing things. Treat self-care as a top priority, as a gift you give yourself and those you love. Since I learned to put health first, even the smallest habits, eating healthy, getting enough sleep, and regular exercise, have brought back my energy, alertness, and joy of living. As my body grew stronger, my mind also became steadier, and I realized, when you're healthy, everything else becomes much more possible. Start today. Don't wait for next week, next month, or when things get less busy. Health waits for no one. It's your most precious asset and your greatest debt if you lose it. All the grand goals, all the dreams, none of them matter if you don't have the strength to pursue them. Prioritizing health is your responsibility, the foundation for everything you want to build. Don't waste any more time. Your body is the only home you're guaranteed to inhabit for life. Care for it the way you want to live, steadfast, free, and bursting with energy. 2. Manage stress and nurture your mental well-being. Listen to me, mental health is no less important than physical health. You might force yourself to work 12, even 15 hours a day, eat 3 meals as usual. But if your mind is always on high alert, sooner or later your body will sound the alarm as well. That is a silent but ruthless price to pay. Your immune system weakens, your memory fades, and your motivation for life slowly withers. Let me tell you about a man I once met. He was just like many other men out there, busy with work, heavy family responsibilities. Sometimes it felt like he was carrying the whole world on his shoulders. In the morning, he drank strong coffee just to stay alert, plunged into heavy traffic, and after work, took on even more tasks at home. At night, when everything finally settled down, he would sit alone, turn on the TV just for background noise. Inside, unnamed worries swirled, fear of losing his job, fear of failing his duties, fear that no one truly understood him. Yet he never told anyone simply because he thought, I have to be tough. Men shouldn't be weak. Day after day, the stress never faded. It built up into headaches, sleepless nights, bursts of anger at his wife and children for no real reason. He tried to ignore and brush off negative feelings, but the more he denied them, the tighter they clung to him. One day, just a minor issue at work was enough to make him slump over his desk, unwilling to touch anything. Only then did he truly look back and realize he had neglected his mind for far too long. Do you see? This is not a rare story. Maybe you or someone you know is standing at this very crossroads. So, what should you do to avoid being overwhelmed by hidden waves of stress and negative emotions? First, remember, managing mental health is not a privilege, nor is it a weakness. It is an essential life skill. Stoics know that keeping a clear, calm mind in the face of storms is a daily mission. No one can do it for you. Don't try to suppress or deny negative emotions. When anger, disappointment, or anxiety arise, allow yourself to stop and clearly identify them. I am sad. I am worried. Only when you can name your feelings can you start to control them, rather than letting them control you. Don't hesitate to keep a journal, jotting down your thoughts every day. Not only does this help you release pressure, but it also allows you to view yourself with a more objective eye. Meditate, pray, or simply sit quietly for a few minutes and breathe deeply. You don't need to be an expert to practice. Just proactively give your mind time to reset each day. Just like a phone needs to recharge, your mind also needs time to power off. Don't wait until stress builds up into illness to regret not listening to your body sooner. You don't need to run from stress, but learn to live with it calmly. Tell yourself, I can't control everything, but I can control my reaction. When a situation makes you angry, instead of exploding or denying your emotions, ask yourself, is this really important to me? Is there anything I can control right now? Just that one small question can help your mind settle and open up your perspective. Stoics don't run from difficulty. They learn to face it steadily and choose to react deliberately. Always remember Epictetus's words. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Sometimes, just one honest conversation with a loved one or a friend can relieve a mountain of pressure. Don't lock yourself away in your shell. If you have no one to share with, try writing it down or finding a positive community online. The important thing is not to isolate your feelings. Everyone deserves a support system, however small. I want you to remember, stress is a part of life, but it's not everything. You can't eliminate stress, but you can learn to befriend it. Each day, spend a few minutes just breathing deeply, reflecting on yourself, and being grateful that you're still alive and able to feel. Those small habits, though simple, become a strong shield for your spirit against life's storms. In 2026, let your greatest goal not be about how much money you make or how many promotions you get, but about keeping your mind always clear and peaceful. Don't let stress dictate your every decision. Choose what you can control, your attitude, your thoughts, your actions each day. From today, learn to let go of things beyond your control. Focus on nurturing your mental well-being little by little. You'll be surprised by how powerfully this shift will impact every other area of your life. You deserve peace not by being perfect, but by proactively mastering your mind every single day. 3. Set personal boundaries. Imagine your life as a garden. No fence, no gate. Anyone can step in, pick your flowers, trample your grass, even dump things you don't want. One day, you realize that the garden is no longer yours. That is the reality for many of us. Those who always try to please others, meet everyone's demands, only to lose our sense of control, become drained of energy, frustrated, but unable to speak up. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls to isolate yourself from the world, but about erecting smart gates. Those gates let you control who and what enters the garden of your mind. It's a sign of self-respect, the starting point for the inner freedom that Stoics always pursue. I know many people fear setting boundaries. They're afraid of being called selfish, afraid others won't like them, afraid of unnecessary conflict. But the truth is, no one else can live your life for you. If you let everyone come and go as they please, they'll unintentionally take your time, energy, and focus on things that don't really matter. And do you know what happens next? You start feeling tired, disappointed in yourself, easily irritable with your loved ones, and slowly lose sight of what's truly important. Maybe this scene is familiar. A colleague asks you to help with something just for 5 minutes while you're in the middle of your own work. You reluctantly say yes, knowing your own tasks will fall behind. At the end of the day, you realize you've wasted hours on things that weren't your responsibility, simply because you were afraid to say no. Day after day, you feel like a phone with a dead battery barely charged before being borrowed again. Look at the story of Austrian philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein. He was famous for being eccentric, socially withdrawn, often refusing gatherings, parties, or social activities he found meaningless. For Wittgenstein, time was his most precious asset. He spent it thinking, writing, contemplating philosophy, and never apologized for guarding his boundaries. Some complained about his coldness, but it was thanks to that determination that Wittgenstein left such a profound mark on modern philosophy. This doesn't mean you need to isolate yourself, but it's a reminder you have the right to set boundaries and defend them without feeling guilty. You can set boundaries without being confrontational. It's a skill, a habit anyone can develop. Start with the smallest things. When someone asks you to do something outside your responsibilities, be honest if you truly can't. When your schedule is packed, be bold and politely decline new tasks. When someone criticizes or judges you unfairly, remind yourself you're not responsible for explaining everything, and no one can decide your worth except you. Boundaries aren't weapons against others. They're shields to protect yourself. Maybe you're afraid of loneliness or being left out when you start setting boundaries. But the truth is, those who respect you will understand and accept it. On the other hand, anyone who's angry because you're no longer easy is only there for their own benefit, not for your true self. Setting boundaries is also a way of reminding yourself, I deserve respect. Philosopher Epictetus once wrote, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" Remember, every time you stand up for your time, energy, and focus, you're planting seeds for confidence and future inner freedom. Your action today doesn't have to be big. Try writing down 3 things you no longer want to accept. Maybe it's extra work, interruptions during your break, or hearing negativity from someone. Set a clear limit for each one. More importantly, commit to enforcing those boundaries with calm and respect. No arguments, no over-explaining. In 2026, make setting boundaries an indispensable part of your life. Don't see it as selfish. It's the only way you'll have time, energy, and focus for what really matters. Don't let yourself be swept away by other people's current. Be the master of your own garden, open the gate for good things, and firmly close it to what doesn't belong. That's real freedom, the maturity that Stoic philosophy emphasizes. Control yourself before trying to change the world. You deserve that respect, and only you can decide it. 4. Invest in personal growth. Have you ever asked yourself, if one day all your money, status or possessions disappeared, what would you have left? Many people shy away from this question because it exposes a truth. Everything external can be lost. Only knowledge, skills, and mindset are assets no one can take from you. In the relentless flow of work, responsibilities, and the constant pressure to earn more, many people neglect their own personal growth. Let me tell you about Chris, a friend of mine who was a perfect example of this mentality. Chris had a stable job and a decent income, but year after year, he felt he wasn't making any progress. Every day of his life was a dull repeat. Work in the morning, go home in the afternoon, spend evenings mindlessly scrolling social media or watching TV to pass the time. At one point, Chris thought, well, this is enough. Why bother trying anymore? I'm not young like I used to be. But the more he lived content with mediocrity, the more disappointed he felt, even envious of friends who grew, succeeded, and had new experiences. He became insecure, afraid of change, afraid of failure. So he didn't dare learn anything new, didn't dare step out of his comfort zone. Then, by chance, Chris attended a small local seminar. At first, he just wanted to avoid feeling bored for too long, but during that session, Chris heard something I believe everyone should engrave in their minds. There's no better investment than investing in yourself. Knowledge and skill are yours forever. From that day on, Chris spent 30 minutes each day reading, starting with personal development books, then ones about skills he cared about. Gradually, he signed up for online classes, learned a new language, and even ventured into a completely new field. Chris wasn't learning because anyone pushed him or to impress his boss. He learned for himself because he wanted to become a better version of himself every day. Do you see the key point here? Investing in yourself isn't some huge, expensive thing. You don't have to spend lots of money or all your time on pricey courses. It's a process of continuous learning, constantly improving yourself in the smallest ways. Ask yourself, when was the last time you finished a book? How long has it been since you learned a new skill, tried a new experience, or simply asked advice from someone more successful than you? Don't let being busy become an excuse for stagnation. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." A growth mindset is something anyone can develop, no matter their age or starting point. Chris was once terrified of failure, but after reading about Stoic philosophy, he realized failure isn't the end, but a precious lesson that makes you stronger. He began to see challenges as a necessary part of growing up. Instead of avoiding them, Chris embraced them as opportunities. Every time he learned a new skill, no matter how clumsy at first, he didn't feel ashamed or give up. On the contrary, he recorded every little improvement, encouraged himself, and persisted to the end. Listen to me, the more you grow, the more you need to keep learning. The world changes every day. Skills that are enough today may be outdated tomorrow. Investing in personal growth isn't just to keep up with someone else, but to feel confident in yourself, not get left behind, and not lose your way when life suddenly changes direction. The more you dare to step out of your comfort zone, the more you open doors to real opportunities and happiness. And one thing is essential: perseverance. Chris didn't succeed in a week or a month. Sometimes he got bored, wanted to give up. But each day, just doing a little better than yesterday, reading a few more pages, practicing a skill, Asking an extra question was an investment in himself. Over time, he became more confident, more natural in conversations, better at solving problems, and new opportunities appeared on their own. 2026 is just ahead. Wherever you want to go, you have to steer your own ship. Investing in yourself isn't just a promise for a better future. It's true freedom no one can take away. The knowledge, skills, and mindset you've built. Choose to act today. Set yourself a small learning goal. Persist. Don't let life trap you in a comfort zone. You deserve a better version of yourself, not tomorrow, but every single day, starting right now. How about you? Have you ever felt stuck in your comfort zone or afraid of change like Chris? Share your story, your experiences, or your own tips in the comments below, because maybe what you share could inspire or open new paths for others who are struggling with the same questions. 5. Choose your environment and relationships wisely. After talking about investing in personal growth, I know some of you may ask, is personal effort alone enough? The truth is, no one grows inside a closed cage. No matter how disciplined you are, your surroundings and the people you regularly interact with have a strong impact on your thoughts, emotions, and even your success or failure. Like a plant, you need good soil, clean water, and healthy sunlight to thrive. If you are planted in poor soil, next to plants that only drain nutrients, you too will wither without realizing it. Picture this, a man who used to be a colleague of mine. There was a time when we worked together on the same project, often sharing our efforts to improve ourselves after work. He was always very serious about personal growth, reading every evening and signing up for new skill courses. Yet he still felt stuck. Every time he tried something new, his friends would criticize, "Why bother learning at your age? Just live simply, no need to try so hard." At work, he was also surrounded by colleagues who constantly complained, criticized others, and spent hours gossiping negatively. Despite his best efforts, his enthusiasm slowly dwindled. At the end of each day, all that remained was fatigue, discouragement, and the big question, did I choose the wrong path? This story is familiar to far too many people. You could have the strongest will, but if you are surrounded daily by people who pull you down, you simply cannot advance. This is the price many unknowingly pay when they fail to intentionally choose their environment and relationships. You cannot choose where you were born, but you can fully choose where you want to belong and who you want beside you on your journey of growth. Stoics understand the power of environment and relationships. It is no coincidence that Marcus Aurelius spent most of his time with wise advisors and avoided flatterers who only tried to drag him into power games. It wasn't cold-heartedness, it was self-mastery, knowing how to protect one's values. In real life, if you want to progress, you must have the courage to keep a distance from those who only judge, complain, or try to pull you off your chosen path. But I know, not everyone can easily break up with a toxic environment or relationship. Many fear isolation, fear judgment, and fear the feeling of being lost without familiar faces around. They compromise, endure, telling themselves, "It's okay, I'll accept it." The problem is, over time, you forget who you once were, what you once wanted. You dissolve into the crowd, losing your identity and personal goals. Philosopher Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." The solution is not to block everyone or live isolated from society. It's learning to filter, intentionally building a healthy circle of relationships. Spend more time with positive people who dare to dream and know how to support you. Seek out groups or communities where people uplift one another and progress together. If those around you think big, live responsibly, you will naturally be inspired. Conversely, be firm about keeping distance from those who constantly complain, immerse themselves in negativity, and do not respect you. I once witnessed that former colleague change when he proactively sought out small groups with shared interests, asked questions, and connected with more experienced people. At first he was hesitant, but gradually, within a few months, he became more confident, less dependent on the negative opinions of his old friends. When facing difficulties, instead of complaining, he chose to share with those who could listen and encourage him. You don't need a large circle of friends. Even a few truly positive people can keep you on track when you drift off course. That is the power of a healthy environment. Consider choosing your environment and relationships as part of investing in yourself. Don't regret leaving things that no longer serve you. Don't hesitate to open the door to new people, new opportunities. You are the average of the people you spend the most time with. Ask yourself, who do you want to become, and choose friends and surroundings that reflect that. Finally, remember, good environments and relationships do not happen by chance. They are the result of intentional choices and persistent effort every day. 6. Put your dreams first. Ask yourself, amid the rush of life, the endless responsibilities, and the hundreds of to-dos each day, do you ever remember your dreams? Have you ever thought, if only I had more time, if only I were younger, if only I had started earlier? Don't shy away from that feeling. The truth is, most of us are the same. But listen to me, dreams are not something reserved for your free time, nor are they a luxury for the lucky. Dreams are the only reason you truly want to wake up each morning. They are the most authentic, private part of life, and the only source of strength you can give yourself. You may have been taught that growing up means accepting reality, sacrificing your dreams for more important things. You may have been told, dreams don't pay bills, or who are you to dream? But look back at yourself years ago, before those practical voices crushed your spirit. You dared to think big, to try, to dream about something special, however small or silly it might have seemed to others. If today you feel lost, exhausted from living according to others' expectations, it's because you've forgotten that part of yourself for too long. I once knew a friend in his 40s with a stable family and career, but lacking purpose. In his youth, he loved painting, dreaming of a small exhibition, but set it aside for a safer path. Years passed, and free time never came. One day, he realized life felt empty without pursuing his dreams. He decided to start small, painting a little each day, before work or after the kids slept. Clumsy at first, he persisted, sharing online despite criticism. Within a year, he held a modest exhibition, proving that even an ordinary busy man can live his dream if he dares to start. You see, dreams don't have to be grand or stand out in others' eyes. They just need to be meaningful enough that every day you want to take one more step. Don't wait for free time, for more stability, because the truth is, no one is ever fully ready. Dreams become reality only when you turn them into small daily actions. Learning a relevant skill, spending 15 minutes researching, planning, trying and failing and trying again. As Socrates said, the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Dreams don't grow in hesitation and fear. They grow with persistent, even tiny steps. I know some will argue, I'm too busy, so many things to handle. But listen, the more responsibilities you have, the more you need something to keep you true to yourself. That's why it's not an excuse to delay. Don't fool yourself into thinking failure is the end. Failure is an essential part of the journey to success. Everyone stumbles. The important thing is whether you dare to get back up and continue. No one judges you for daring to fail. They only judge if you live your life without ever daring to start. Also, don't let distractions like social media, arguments, or other people's drama steal the precious time meant for your dreams. Focus is your strongest weapon. Every day, ask yourself, does what I'm doing today bring me closer to my dream? If the answer is no, adjust immediately. Even replacing 15 minutes of scrolling with 15 minutes of learning a new skill is progress. That is the only way to avoid being swept away by life while keeping your truest self intact. Putting your dreams first is not selfish. It is a commitment to yourself that you deserve a meaningful life. 2026 is approaching. Will you keep waiting for a miracle or start acting to make your desires real? You have the choice, and you deserve to live for your dreams. 7. Care for your mind and emotions. If your body is the house you live in, your mind and spirit are the light within that house. Many of us focus so much on the body, eating, drinking, and exercising, that we forget to nourish our mental life. Until one day, everything outside may seem stable, but inside, it's dark, cold, and lifeless. Listen to me. Caring for your mind is not a luxury reserved for the idle, nor is it a privilege of the weak. It is the foundation, the root that allows you to face life's challenges firmly, no matter what changes happen outside. There's one thing I want to say as a true friend. Allow yourself to be quiet. You don't always have to be busy doing something, nor constantly entertain yourself to live a meaningful life. Sometimes, silence is the strongest medicine to restore your mind and heart. Reading a book, meditating for a few minutes, walking in the park, or simply sitting and recording your thoughts for the day, not wasting time, but reconnecting with yourself amid the chaos. In that moment, you hear more clearly the voice of God, not as sound, but as a gentle sense of peace, an inner guidance that you cannot always put into words. I know there are days when everything surrounds you and guilt creeps in as you try to take time for yourself. You fear being seen as selfish, lazy, or judged for not meeting expectations. But ask yourself, if you pour everything into others while neglecting yourself, sooner or later, you will be depleted with nothing left to give. You have the right to reward yourself by eating your favorite food, having coffee with a good friend, enjoying a carefree Sunday morning, or simply smiling while watching the sunrise. Don't hesitate to love and care for yourself. That's how you build inner strength, ready to step out into the world stronger. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Your happiness does not come from what you have, but from how you perceive, feel, and treat yourself each day. Protecting your inner energy is the highest priority. Don't let judgments, drama, or the insecurity of others shake you. If someone tries to pull you into negativity, actively keep your distance. Don't hesitate to refuse things that don't align with your values or direction. Sometimes inner peace comes from letting go. Let go of the expectation to please everyone. Let go of the feeling of, I must be better than others. Let go of the fear of failure. Remember, everyone is born with a unique path, a unique mission that only you fully understand. Caring for your mind is like caring for your connection with the Creator, a mysterious, powerful, and enduring bond beyond the changes of the material world. When you take time to listen to yourself, you are also listening to the deep call of God within, a reminder of value, peace, and life's meaning. Start today. Give yourself a small moment of quiet. Turn off your phone, breathe deeply, look up at the sky, listen to soft music, or simply close your eyes and reflect on what you're grateful for. Don't rush to judge yourself if you still feel anxious or afraid. Everyone has weak days. What matters is that you return, care, nurture, and do not judge yourself. Persist each day, little by little, and you will see your mind grow stronger, your inner strength expand, and joy naturally return. And if one day feels too heavy, believe that a greater power is always watching over you. Sometimes, just daring to look up and pray, not for material gain, but whispering for peace, will calm your heart and warm your soul. That is the gift that God and the universe give to those who protect and care for their deepest selves. Caring for your mind is a journey, not a destination. Each day, allow yourself quiet, reward yourself, and protect your energy from what is undeserving. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to be loved. You just need to be sincere with yourself and patient on the path of befriending your mind. That is the shortest road to peace and the solid foundation to master your life, no matter what happens outside. When you focus on yourself, prioritizing health, managing stress, setting personal boundaries, investing in personal growth, choosing the right environment and relationships, pursuing your dreams, and caring for your mental life, you not only live in the spirit of Stoicism, but truly master your own life. Every small action, from eating, resting, learning, choosing friends, to listening to your soul, is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, self-control, accepting reality, nurturing reason, and responsibility are the foundation to stand firm amidst life's uncertainties. You deserve that. 2026 is here. What do you feel you need to focus on most among these 7 factors? Share your stories, experiences, or thoughts below. I and everyone else want to hear from you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch the next videos displayed at the end of the screen so you don't miss the journey with Stoic philosophy. Thank you for accompanying me.